Hello. So this will be a continuation from my previous video on the truth versus what's fashionable, what's trendy, what's popular. And I was talking about, the focus of this video, you might say, is basically kind of observing the elephant in the room phenomena, or the 5,000-pound gorilla in the room phenomena. Now, I'm just going to kind of assume that your average person has experienced the elephant in the room phenomena before. And, sometimes the elephant in the room phenomena might be trivial, depending on the individual and, their convictions and their views and stuff like this. So if the elephant in the room is based in a subject like coffee, one flavor of coffee versus another, it might just be not worth. That's really not a hill a person is gonna, die on. Is like, hey, you're trying to say that this shitty coffee is the good coffee, and I know you're lying and covering up that. So there are instances where the elephant in the room is just some trivial bullshit that isn't even worth taking a stand on. Though typically the elephant in the room phenomenon is on an important subject, like something that's important, which is why the elephant in the phenomena, or the elephant in the room phenomena exists. Is it's a cover-up. There is something going on. The elephant in the room phenomena, 9 times out of 10, is a red flag. Okay, it's not just based on some trivial thing. It's like there's something going on here, right? And so I'm always suspicious of elephant in the room phenomena. And I just happen to be in a circumstance in my life, and have been most of my life, where I don't really have anything to lose to be that guy. The guy that points the elephant in the room out. Like, I really don't have nothing to lose. Like, what are you going to do? Fire me? What are you going to do? Kill me? You're going to burn my house down? Like, what are you going to do? Is it really worth, is it worth that much to you that by me pointing out the elephant in the room, like, you're going to flip the fuck out and go full retard and try to kill me and burn my house down and all kinds of crazy shit? Because if so, then that just proves, that's like the proof in the pudding. That just proves, that, like, what the fuck? Are you a total retard, So I have always kind of been, and this is the other thing about the elephant in the room phenomenon. Though most people have experienced the elephant in the room phenomena, most people are also the one who will remain silent. Okay? It's like the litmus test, or these other tests where, the test is rigged. So 3 of the 4 people are actors, and the 4th person is unaware that they're in a rigged situation. And then there's some kind of like thing where it's like, okay, how many apples do you see in this photograph? And the 3 actors will say, oh, there's 5 apples, even though there's 4. And the 4th guy who's not an actor will just go along out of peer pressure, even though he sees 5 apples. But because everyone else is saying they only see 4, he'll just go along and say, well, I only see 4. Go along to get along. So most people will just go along with the elephant in the room phenomena. See, and I just happen to be through circumstance, not virtue, just through circumstance, I just happen to be the kind of person who's more inclined to not really give a fuck about peer pressure. And so if I see 5 apples and everybody in the room is saying that they only see 4, I'm going to just like raise my hand and be like, well, hey, I see 5. I don't know. Am I fucking hallucinating? Am I crazy? You know, because I don't give a shit. And this is not by virtue, it's just by circumstance. So if I'm in a litmus test type scenario, I'm the person that's more likely just going to say what, I'm not going to go along with peer pressure. And I'm not going to just sit there while there's a 5,000 pound gorilla in the room and not say anything. Whereas your average person, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to go along to get along. Okay. So I'll give you an example. I had this job and we met once a month with a panel of people that worked for the fucking county. They were government fucking workers, state workers type people. And we had to meet with them once a month, every month. And so there was like 50 of us in this boardroom, okay? And there was always an elephant in the room. And all of my coworkers, they all knew it. They'd all complain about it. They would hate going to the meetings. They knew it was all bullshit. But while they're sitting in that meeting for an hour or an hour and a half, they would never call out the bullshit. They'd always just sit there and go along to get along. You see, and so when I got on the crew, they were all complaining about this meeting and how it's stupid. But I'm the type of person too who I make my own judgment calls. So I want to see for myself, even though all my coworkers are saying. So I'm going into these meetings, and sure enough, it is exactly right. Like there's like fucking 10 elephants in the room and fucking 7 5,000 pound gorillas in the room, and everybody's just sitting there acting like this is all normal. And I mean, this is like a fucking job. This is like, talk about Potemkin Village facade bullshit. It's just complete bullshit. And I'm the type of person, and I actually was very convicted to my job. Like I really valued my job. You know, I took the work very seriously. I'm not here. So in my viewpoint, I'm not here to fucking like fuck around. I'm here to fucking work. And so I'm sitting in these meetings and I'm observing this, and everybody, like you got 50 people in the room and they're all just pretending and acting. And so I just watched and waited for an ideal opportunity to address the elephant in the room. So I was like really tactful. I wanted to make sure that I did it very effectively to really jam all these fuckers up. And so then the opportunity presented itself. It became so absurd where they're just talking about like total retard shit. And so then I just calmly raised my hand and I pointed it out. I said, well, hey, if you're talking about this and this, you know, isn't that a complete contradiction to the very work we do because this, and this? And I mean, I'm just pointing out the obvious, right? And you got 50 people in the room, including my boss who's sitting across on the other side of the fucking thing, directly across from me. And I say this, right? And the whole fucking room gets totally quiet. Like you can feel all the fucking tension. You can cut it with a knife. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. And it went on like this long, awkward silence where nobody knew what to say because I just pointed out the elephant in the room that has been hanging around for like ever. And that everyone has refused to even acknowledge. And I was just like, well, I got nothing to lose. What are you going to do? Fire me? Fucking fire me then. Because I'm not here to sit on my ass and pretend and play fucking 5th grade childish games. I'm here to work. If you're just paying me to sit around and pretend, especially about something that I care a lot about, like the work I care about the work, it's actually valuable work that needs to be done, and we're all sitting around acting like fucking 5th grade retards. Fire me then. And so I tactfully did this. I didn't with, you know, I removed emotion and I just tactfully presented this to all these motherfuckers. And everybody got real quiet, and you could feel the tension. You could cut it with the butter knife, and you could hear the pin drop and shit. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of the lead guys of this crew of people we were meeting with once a month, all of a sudden burst out in anger and slammed his fucking fist down on the fucking table and told me that, you know, that's not true. This isn't true. They're not doing this. They're doing this, and fucking just total, complete, like, freak out, fucking full retard, you know, like completely non-professional, which just made it completely obvious that this is all bullshit, right? And so this guy just starts flipping out and pounding his fucking fists on the table, and I just went full flat affect mode. I just went from engaging, professional engagement in the meeting, to I just turned to my boss, because she was sitting across the room right in front of me, and I just turned and gave her a blank stare with just complete flat affect. Basically just like looking at her like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. This is completely retarded, you know? And so then after the meeting, I'm standing outside with my boss, and me and my boss are laughing because we know that I was right, and that me being right is what caused all this outrage. Everybody fucking right? And so we're laughing about it because we know that what I did is professional, and we're being professional. And these people we're meeting with, who are supposedly supposed to be more professional than us, were the fucking goofballs. They're just stupid. They don't even know what the fuck they're doing at all. And me and my boss are out there laughing. Well, then their boss comes out and asks to speak to my boss. And so then she walks off with them, and then she comes back shortly after and says, "Hey, you know, I just got done talking to the dude, right? The boss man over here. And he said that from now on, when we're in these meetings, we're not allowed to talk about this aspect of the work," which is like one of the main, most important aspects of the entire work. And then I'm just laughing like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And she's laughing too, and in agreement, and saying, you know, that this is just the way it is. Like, we can talk about it in our meetings, of course, but when we're here at this meeting, we can't talk about that anymore. So anyway, this is just who I am. Like I said, it isn't a virtue, it's circumstance. I just don't have nothing to lose to point out these stupid things that go on. And they're everywhere. They're all over in society. They're all over online, mainstream media. Like, everybody is pretending. It's just a bunch of actors. Let's pretend and play games and not be adults and just be retards and and like everything will just work out if we just act like retards and don't really, you know. It's all busybody bullshit, you know? And so I'm the type of person who just points it out, like, well, why even do the busybody bullshit? Because everybody knows it's not doing anything. It's just stupid faggot gay bullshit. Why even do it, you know? And people get really enraged because they believe their own lies. They start to believe their lies, that their busybody meaningless bullshit that they do actually has some meaning. They believe their own lies. And so then when they get called out on them that they're just living a lie, like they're being totally retarded, they get really enraged. And like I said, I've had people fucking try to fucking kill me over shit, like over the most stupidest, trivial, retarded bullshit. I've had my fucking home burnt down along with half of the block by criminals, murderous fucking criminals who committed arson and burned my house down, including half of the block besides my house, all over some trivial bullshit because they can't handle the truth. So this is just the world that we live in today, you know?